Hey everybody, it's Mr. Rogers. So today I'd like to do a quick lesson on natural selection to make sure we're all on the same page. So natural selection, run along here, is nature or the environment creates a pressure that allows a certain trait to be passed on or not. That's the very technical term for natural selection. In nature, the environment creates a selective pressure that determines if a trait is passed on or not. And realistically, the more we go into natural selection, we get more and more of a definition here. This definition being a mechanism by which individuals have inherited beneficial adaptations produce more offspring on average than other individuals do. So let me get everything up on the screen so we can see it. Oops. Sorry, my bad. Um, let's talk through this. So natural selection is that there's going to be a winner and loser, and the environment chooses the winner and loser. So if I have a trait that makes me better at my job than my friend, then I'm going to survive. And the law of natural selection basically says that I'm going to pass on more traits because I'm alive, and the person that wasn't as successful is no longer around. They can't have any more kids. So if I'm these beetles on the leaf over here, this brown guy sticks out more, and so he's probably going to be eaten. The green ones will survive, and they'll have babies, and they'll pass on their traits, and more of the beetles will be green. Now, the lizard will have to react to it. And this is not just a game of, oh, something evolves and the other nothing else evolves. Well, the lizard's also going to evolve and keep changing and will get better and better eyesight so he can see the green one. And you can see that in chameleons. They have really good eyesight because they're trying to find beetles that have evolved to try to stay alive. And so it's a constant struggle back and forth. So nature is a selective agent. Nature is doing it. Later this week, we're going to talk about when humans do it. That's called artificial selection. Characteristics are selected only if they give advantages. If they don't give an advantage, then it doesn't get passed on. So there's some things in humans now that aren't really part of our natural selection. Like, I don't know, trying to think here. Like ear size is not really passed on anymore. There's not like a natural selection. No one gets a big advantage from having big ears or small ears. It's just ears. While, in nature, there might be some animals like deer, the bigger the ear, the more you can hear, and therefore they don't get killed by predators and whatnot, and so they'll pass on that trait. So in some organisms, it's different traits. Some organisms, there's a lot of traits that, you're trying to improve all the time through these natural selections. Now, the other big thing I want to make sure I get across is an organism doesn't get to choose if it's better at something or not. Sometimes it's just your genetics, just like you didn't get to choose what you look like. And so it's random. We can't really always predict who's going to win or lose. It's just a random thing sometimes. And even if you don't have a good trait, sometimes you survive anyways. Sometimes when you have a good trait, sometimes you die. It's just kind of the luck of the draw sometimes. So this is a famous picture. We kind of looked at this one in my other video, kind of looking at these mice and making sure that, these brown mice stick out, the gray ones don't, and we're kind of seeing the effects on the environment. And we can kind of draw this out. And that's something you're going to constantly do in natural selection in my classes. We're going to draw out what we think is going to happen next. Like, what do we think is going to happen next here? Or what happens if this environment turns to brown? What's going to change? Well, these mice will be more successful. The gray ones will, be less successful, and so on and so forth. Now, this is actually a real thing. I always like talking about this. So these are rock pocket mouses. I sometimes just call them rocket pocket mouses. They are real mouses that live in Arizona, and they are either brown or I should say dark brown or light brown, depending on where they live. And we can watch their evolution through this environment of where they live and which ones survive and which ones don't. And so this is a constant thing we've been watching. We've been studying for about 30 years now, and we've been even recognized what trait it is in their DNA and what makes them, what color and what response they have to different situations. So it's quite an interesting study. We'll talk more about it in April. I just wanted to bring it up now. Now, there's one more thing I want to get across in evolution now. Like, there's plenty more that we're going to cover later, but it is a struggle for survival. And this is a biological thing that we always have to keep in the back of our mind, that there are too many of any species in an area and there's not enough resources, and so they're always competing. Living things are always competing. And when you're a squirrel, there's too many squirrels and not enough acorns, and I'm competing against other squirrels to keep my acorns, and I got to hide them well and make sure that they don't get stolen. And this is a constant struggle. And this is why evolution happens, is because there's not enough things, there's going to be winners and there's going to be losers. If there was too many things and there's plenty of acorns around, then squirrels don't really need to evolve because they're perfectly suited. And so evolution comes out of this idea of struggle for survival. Because there's limited amount of stuff, you got to be good at getting it. You got to be doing a good job at your job. And so this constant struggle drives evolution and natural selection forward. So I hope that kind of helps a little bit. If you need any more help, let me know, and I'll give you some.